Hello everyone, very good evening and welcome back to Crack Grade B. So today we are going to discuss a topic on IFSC, right? So before starting with the topic, we have to understand the basic differences that what is an IFSC, what is IFSCA and what is Gift City, right? So we'll be starting with it. First, I'll make you understand that what are the basic differences, what are the advantages, right? What kind of work we are going to do or the government is intending that should be done in these particular organizations or in these particular setups, right? So let's start with it, and I hope you learn quite a few things out of this particular lecture. The main focus of this lecture is to understand about the authority which has been established in the IFSC. But before that, we should be discussing some basic terms and most importantly, the practical implication of this particular arrangement. So moving ahead with this. First of all, understanding about the basic terms. So I see three important terms over here. Number one is IFSC, then IFSCA, and then we have your Gift City. So one by one, we are going to understand each of them. First, talking about the Gift City. So what actually Gift City means? So Gift City is around 800 acres physical location, right? And this particular area is in Gujarat. I hope all of you are aware about it. We are trying to develop this as an international financial services related center. So when I talk about Gift City is a physical space where there are provisions of commercial related buildings, right? Residential buildings as well as the social setup. So all these three requirements have been taken care of. So first thing first, Gift City is clear to us. Now next thing, what is IFSCA? Now talking about IFSCA, first of all understand this is India, right? Now in this we have created a separate space called as Gift City. Now please look at it. Whatever kind of financial transactions that happen all over India, this is called as the domestic space. What we call it as? The rest of the India is called as domestic space, right? And whatever kind of financial transactions that happen in this domestic space, we have got financial regulators for it, like RBI, SEBI, IRDA, that is your Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, as well as the PFRDA. All sets of rules and regulations that we have studied, these are applicable to the domestic space, that means the whole of India. But what happens is that sometimes we have got some restrictive regulations. For example, I'm giving you just one example, let's not make it complicated. So let's talk about the capital account convertibility. Capital account convertibility means if you want to make any sort of investment outside India, then there is a limit up to which you can get your currency exchanged, right? There is a restriction in India on capital account convertibility. But in order to make this particular Gift City as an international financial service center, what we are going to do? We are going to provide relaxations. There will be relaxations on account of various fronts. Like we'll be giving relaxation on account of taxation. We'll be giving relaxations on account of investments as well as the operation of FEMA, that is Foreign Exchange Management Act. So various kinds of regulations that are applicable on whole of India, they will be applied to GIFT City, but with some twist. That means we are not going to apply all the rules and regulations. We want to make this GIFT City as free as possible. So now coming on the topic that I wanted to tell you. For all of India, we have got these regulators in the financial market, right? But for GIFT City, we have made a separate regulator. We call it as International Financial Service Center Authority, right? What is it? So it is a regulator. Who I can compare it with? I can compare it with RBI, SEBI, as these are applicable in all of India or in the domestic space. But in the GIFT City, this will be the regulator. They will be having representatives from RBI, SEBI, IRDA, PFRDA, as well as from the Finance Ministry. So this particular authority is having the representation of all the regulators, and it is going to perform the work of regulating this GIFT City. Understood? Now 2 points are clear to us. Number 1, GIFT City is a physical space. There we are constructing commercial buildings, residential spaces, as well as social spaces. Why? Because we want to make this GIFT City as an international financial center. Now, what is this international financial center? What work they perform? This is also we are going to study. But I hope that this thing is clear to you, that what is IFSCA. Now, when we are reading about this particular act which is related to it, what we are going to see in it? We will see that what is the composition, who can be appointed over here, who are going to be the regulators, what are the acts that will be applicable in GIFT City, right? Apart from it, what are the powers that will be there with this particular authority and that they will going to be applying in GIFT City. Now next thing I want to talk about why International Financial Center has been established in India. Number 1 thing, right? So next thing is why IFSC? IFSC, International Financial Service Center. What I call it as International Financial Service Center. So GIFT City is a physical space. IFSCA is an authority which is going to regulate the GIFT City or the financial transactions that are going to be happening over there, and this whole setup I call it as International Financial Service Center. Now you see there are so many advantages of having a International Financial Service Center. Now number 1 thing, we all know that India is a capital scarce country. Capital scarce country means that in India we want capital for developmental purposes. Now, if we see in India, all the residents that are having capital, obviously there some are investing, but what we need is we need external capital as well. Number 1 thing. So, first of all, you've got capital requirements. Next thing, you want to increase the depth of economy. How the depth of economy will be increased? So, in your GIFT City, the Indian banks, insurance companies, right, and the other kinds of capital market leaders, they all are going to establish their institutions in GIFT City. That means they are going to have a business unit. Suppose your banks like SBI, Axis Bank, HDFC, they are going to open one of their branch in this GIFT City. Now in GIFT City, the foreign investors as well as other wealthy institutions as well as individuals, they are going to come. They will demand financial products, and these Indian banks as well as insurance company as well as pension funds, they are going to provide them the services. Now with this, their customer base is going to be increased. Now when customer base is going to be increased, obviously it will bring business in India. So apart from capital, you've got depth of economy. The number third thing is your manpower employment. In India, you are aware that we are currently witnessing demographic dividend. We have got the manpower, but we want the employment for that particular sector of ours. That means we want employment for our unemployed youth. So this particular financial sector, if it has been developed up to a scale, then it will lead to a new employment opportunities for our youth, right? So these are the few things, very basic things, that why an IFSC or International Financial Center has been established in India. Now one thing that I would like to ask you, tell me that whether you know that which particular financial service center is currently number 1 in the world. This is a GK question, or let's say not very relevant, but yes, you should be knowing this. So which of the international financial service center in the whole world wise is currently at number 1? So you have to tell me that. Now moving ahead and talking about what are the products or what are the facilities that will be provided over here. What kind of works you can see in International Financial Service Center? So what kind of works they will provide? They will do asset management. That asset management means what? They work similarly like a mutual fund. What does mutual fund means? Very good, Sarvesh. It is New York, right? New York is the number 1, followed by London and followed by Singapore. So if we see in our Asian countries, Asia Pacific, this is Singapore, which is currently at number 1. It is a best international financial service center in the Asia Pacific region. Now, what kind of work IFSC they do? So number 1 thing is asset management. Suppose I have got some amount, right? Not very less amount, but very huge wealth I have got. I want someone who should be investing this particular amount in different assets. And then this is called as wealth management. So these kind of services obviously are taken by the big business houses, high net worth individuals, right? They have got wealth. They want some managers who will see their wealth. They'll invest this wealth into certain investments like equity, debentures, as well as real estate or other some investment avenues. And then taking the income out of it is called as your asset management. Whatever asset you have created, managing that particular asset. Suppose you have made investment into some equity instrument. Now that is an asset. Creating or getting the income out of it, managing this whole asset, that when you have to purchase few more equity shares, when you have to sell some out of equity shares out of it, this is called as the asset management. So yes, apart from wealth management, we are going to do asset management in International Financial Service Center. Apart from it, global tax liability. See, we have seen that there are MNCs, there are big business houses, pension funds, as well as the other wealth related funds. They are operating not just in their domestic country, but obviously they are going far beyond the borders. They have the operations in practically all over the world. Now, when you are operating in all over the world, there will be tax implications because you are generating revenue not just from one locality, but from different localities. So tax liability management has also emerged as a separate avenue, which is treated as a financial service. That means you have got some tax consultants. Obviously, human power is very important for it. You should be having human resources in order to carry out this particular thing. So again, this will provide the employment to the huge human capital base that we have. So what these people, tax consultants, do, they provide the advices, they manage the accounts, right, and they tell them that where to invest, from where to withdraw, and how to manage the tax liability so that it remains at a minimum level. Don't you think that it is a very good kind of service? Everybody wants to earn the income, but they want to pay less amount of taxes, and hence this has emerged as a very good service. Apart from that, how you have mentioned, yes, mergers and acquisitions, fundraising related services, all these conventional services are already being provided in the International Financial Service Center. Now, when we have known what kind of work they are doing, why they are able to do this, let's talk about it. And first of all, let's talk about what kind of model India has picked up. So you see, International Financial Service Center, or IFSC, they can have three types of existence, right? If in whatever country they have been developed, if the domestic market is well developed, that means if domestic financial market is well developed, it is thriving on its own and it is already a huge market, then they focus on their domestic market along with some international transactions as well. Very good example of this is your Tokyo. Tokyo IFSC is a very good example. Then we have got countries where domestic transactions are not that much. Domestic economy is not that well developed. But what you do have is foreign transactions. So these are also called as the tax havens, and you can get a very good idea of it. We have got Mauritius. Mauritius is again a country where what we do is, yes, very good example is Mauritius. Next is India has been following a hybrid model. This is very important for us. Hybrid model means in India you will see that we have got two different components. You have got a domestic tariff area as well, and you have got a separate special economic zone as well. That means you are going to entertain domestic transactions plus you are going to entertain the foreign financial transactions as well. Now coming together to this concept of SEZ. Yes. Wait for a second. Now coming to the concept of SEZ. So you know India has followed a hybrid model. That means we are going to support domestic transactions. That means the transactions, financial transactions that are led by resident, and apart from that, all kinds of financial products that we are going to provide. We have created a separate area for it called as this has been constituted under the Special Economic Zone Act. Now SEZ Act. Without going into much detail, just giving you a basic idea so that it is easier for me to build up on that. SEZ Act 2005. So the origin of SEZ has been given to the China. So this idea of special economic zone, what happens is when we operate in our domestic area or in the domestic regulatory area, we have got so many rules and regulations that it becomes difficult for a business enterprise to follow all such rules and regulations and then thrive. So what China did was, it created some small special economic zones where there was regulatory freedom regarding the taxation, right, regarding export and import rules, and these particular areas have been treated as an overseas area. That means for all practical purposes, CES areas are not treated as a domestic territory. They are treated as a foreign territory. Why? So that we are having an ease of operation. Understood? So hence our IFSC that has been created in Gujarat, this is also been created under the SES Act 2005, right? So that means we have marked in approximately 800 acres of area as a special economic zone, and we are going to treat this particular area different from our Indian domestic area. We are going to treat this as a foreign territory. Now one thing, now few more things that I would like to tell you on it. Few interesting things that I'm thinking that you will be pleased to know, or it may happen that you already know about it. So number one thing is the currency. We will not be using rupee as a currency in the International Financial Service Center. We are always going to be dealing in the foreign currency. But one thing is your administrative expenses, etc. For that, rupee can be used. This particular thing, rupee can be used. Next thing is, we have also got taxation related relaxations, right? There will be relaxations for a period of 10 years in related to taxation matters. Then your banks, insurance companies, etc., they'll be allowed to open units in IFSC. They'll be dealing with the foreign customers. And then yeah, so you are going to attract the foreign investors, foreign funds, as well as all such kind of organizations which are interested to carry on their business. Now what happens is, all those overseas branches that our Indian companies are having out of the India, obviously, they have to perform or they have to take such financial services from outside. So obviously India is losing a business over here. We can provide such kind of financial services in India, then why don't we? So one work is that. Apart from that, you are now clear that what is a gift city, right? And you are now clear that what is IFSCA. It is an authority which is having the composition of the members from RBI, SEBI, IRDA, PFRDA, as well as the Finance Ministry. This particular authority is going to regulate your International Financial Service Center, right? We have to do a lot in this particular chapter because we have to understand the authority in detail. Then we have to also go and talk in detail about Gift City. Hence, I'm not including so much of information over here because this was just a general discussion in order to create an understanding that what kind of work is performed, what are the advantages that can occur to India, right? So all of it. Now moving ahead and talking about our authority in some details, but first we'll start with few of the basics. So why a International Financial Service Center has been established? What is the purpose of it? Because we want customers which are outside of Indian boundaries, right? So Financial Service Center, those which cater to the customers outside of their jurisdiction. This Financial Service Center has been established in India, but it has been established under SES Act 2005. SES Act 2005, that means Special Economic Zone. It is being treated as an overseas territory for all practical purposes, so that there is an ease of transaction. We are not hindering the transactions with our regulatory breaks, right? We want to make the process easy. Next thing is, these centers are international in the sense that they deal with the flow of finance as well as financial products which are across the borders. International financial service centers, they provide such kind of cross-border services and they deal with the flow of finance. Now, what kind of services we provide? Raising of funds through debt and equity, risk management, mutual funds, asset management, all of it is done in the International Financial Service Center. Now, in common parlance, it is a jurisdiction with high concentration of financial institutions like banks, stock markets, related entities, insurance firms, fund managers, financial technology firms, etc. So, see, we have got two exchanges in India, NSE and BSE. Both of them has opened their one of the branch in IFSC, that means in GIFT City. Both of them has established their unit, that is NSE IFSC and BSE IFSC. Both of these have been established. So they are doing the segregation. All India related transactions will be happening on NSE and BSE, and all the transactions which are relating to our financial service center will be traded on the NSE IFSC and BSE IFSC. Let me write it. So these have been already created. Next is the Percy Mystery Committee. This is very important, that which particular committee has recommended the formation of it. Such kind of questions have been asked in the factual related data. So Percy Mystery Committee, the report in 2007, they have highlighted that we need for setting up of an IFSC in India, and following up with that, this particular IFSC has been set up. What has been the timeline? Just see, in January 2013, first commercial building was inaugurated in the GIFT City. Moving ahead, in April 2015, India's first IFSC became operational with RBI, SEBI and IRDA notifying the specific regulations for it. In December 2019, IFSC Authority Act, it got passed in the 2019 by Union Parliament. So first of all, first thing first, this is a statutory authority. Next thing which you should remember is, this is a regulator of International Financial Service Center that is located in the GIFT City. Will RBI be regulating GIFT City? No. Will SEBI be regulating GIFT City? No. Who is going to regulate GIFT City? This is the IFSCA. October 2020, IFSCA has assumed power to develop and regulate the IFSC in India from 1st October 2020. It has notified 20 plus regulations as well as frameworks for various financial service center. So regulations are what? Whenever we are seeing these particular terms, we should always know the meanings of it. Regulations are the rules that have been given by a regulator. So in this case of GIFT City, who is the regulator? IFSCA is the regulator, and hence they have given the regulations that will be applicable on the financial products that are being given in the GIFT City, like your equity related funding, debt related funding, apart from asset management, mutual funds related services. They are not going to be following domestic rules and regulations. They are going to follow the rules and regulations that are given by the authority or the regulator in the IFSC. Moving ahead, talking about the authority itself. So this particular authority, which is the regulator of GIFT City, it has been established on April 27, 2020 under a act called as International Financial Service Center Authority 2019. Now I have a question on this. Please tell me whether this is an executive authority or a statutory authority. Whether this is a executive authority or a statutory authority. If a question is being asked, what will you answer? So I hope you all are aware that any particular authority which is being constituted under the Act of Parliament is called as a statutory authority, and we have got a act which is backing up this particular authority's formation. So always remember, whenever asked, IFSCA is a statutory authority. I'm hoping that everybody knows about it, but still if some students are confused on it, please remember this thing. Yes. Next thing is, it is headquartered at Gift City, Gandhinagar in Gujarat. With effect from 1st October 2020, the IFSCA has assumed the power of 4 domestic regulators. It has assumed the powers of 4 domestic regulators. That means it is going to regulate Gift City only. It has got no regulatory power on other locations. I've got your query, but I would like to tell you that I cannot discuss this thing right away. You have to wait for it. As and soon as we will progress in this particular lecture, you will get to see this, right? And let me tell you one thing. So that's what I want to say. In IFSC, things will be lenient, regulations will be lesser, but you cannot say that everything or anything will not be there. Few of the things, rules and regulations will be there. Whatever thing is applicable to them, this has been notified by the different regulators. We'll come on to that, what will be made applicable, what will be not, but as we'll move progress in the lecture. So it has started the development and the regulatory awareness of the India's maiden IFSC in Gift City. The Gujarat International Financial Tech City says is India's maiden IFSC. It has been set up under the Special Economic Zone Act 2005. It is being developed as a global financial services hub. Gift City is a multi-service special economic zone which has commenced its business in April 2015. Now, role of this particular regulatory authority. The IFSCA is a unified authority for the development as well as the regulation of financial products, financial services, as well as financial institutions in this International Financial Service Center which has been established in India, right? Prior to establishment of this particular authority, domestic financial regulators like RBI, SEBI, PFRDA, they have regulated the business in the IFSC because this has been developed late. This particular authority has been constituted late in 2019 and we have got this Gift City operational from 2015. So in the gap of 4 years, the regulators like your RBI, SEBI, PFRDA, they have operated the Gift City. This has been statutorily empowered to develop and regulate the financial market in the IFSC in India. The main objective of the IFSCA is to develop a strong global connect and focus on the needs of Indian economy as a whole. Funds set up in IFSC, they can pool capital from foreign investors as well as NRIs for investment into various products in the securities market in India. You must have seen the depository receipt concept, right? In our finance class, we have discussed this in detail. American depository receipt, global depository receipt. I hope you have heard about them, understood about them. Now that particular concept can be applied over here as well. For all of your funding requirements, you can go for depository receipt. You can take funds in form of other avenues as well. So fund ecosystem can also contribute towards attracting foreign investment. This is the first point which I have told you, that why we are going for establishment of IFSC. Why we want to establish such centers? Because these centers, they attract global capital, and India is a capital scarce country. We need investment in our sectors like startups, SMEs, green and sustainable projects, real estate projects, infrastructure investments, etc., etc. The Indian corporations, like including banks, central public sector enterprises, etc., they can also raise capital through listing of foreign currency bonds or masala bonds on the stock exchanges in the IFSC. So NSE and BSE have got their stock exchanges in IFSC, right? Specifically for IFSC. Indian corporates can go for these particular bonds. What is foreign currency bonds? What is masala bonds? So we know bonds is a way of borrowing, right? You want funds, you want to borrow it, you are going to issue bonds. Now you can issue bonds whether in domestic territory or you can go external, that means in the foreign territory. If you are issuing your bonds in the foreign market or to the foreign investors, and this particular bond is denominated in foreign currency, let us assume that you are doing the borrowing and this bond has been denominated in dollars, so it will be called as a foreign currency bond. The repayment which Indian entity has to do, that will also be in the terms of foreign currency only. You have borrowed in dollars, you will have to repay in dollars. But there is a problem with it. What is the problem? Exchange risk. Exchange risk means at the time of borrowing, exchange rate was $1 is equivalent to 70 rupees. But at the time of repayment, this exchange rate has become $1 is equal to 83 rupees. That means if my installment was for $100, then I will have to pay 8300 rupees. That means 1300 extra for the exchange rate. My rupee has got depreciated, because of that I will have to pay more. But this problem has been removed by the issuance of masala bonds. So we have this concept of masala bonds. Masala bonds, this was first used by the IFC. This is a World Bank related affiliated institution, right? World Bank entity. And they have used this particular bond. What happens is these bonds is Indian entity can raise funds from foreign investors. Indian entity borrowing from foreign investors, but this bonds will be rupee denominated. That means Indian entity will not have to face any exchange risk. The investor or the foreign investor, they will have to face the exchange risk. So this is the concept of masala bonds as well as your foreign currency bonds. Both are means the basic of these particular bonds is your Indian entity is borrowing from the foreign market. In this type, they have to face exchange risk. In this type, they will not have to face the exchange rate. But for this, you will have to find an investor, foreign investor, who is ready to invest in your bonds and who is also ready to take the exchange risk. So this was the concept over here. IFSC infrastructure in capital market consists of 3 stock exchanges, right? You have got India International Exchange, NSE IFSC, India International Bullion Exchange, which offers various derivatives, products, bonds as well as bullion trading through IFSC. Next is, apart from the exchanges, there are clearing corporations, depository, broker dealers, clearing members, depository participants, custodian, advisors, debenture trustee, vault managers, etc. So in finance related class, I'm assuming that we have seen what is the meaning of all of it. Clearing corporations, if you know that how banking transaction works or any kind of transaction. So there are 2 parties. One is buyer, one is the seller, right? Or one is the customer and the other one is the supplier. In both these cases, these are the 2 parties who are not related to each other. They don't know who these 2 parties are. So there is a third party called as clearing corporation, which acts as an intermediary to every transaction, and it leads to clearing of the transaction plus settlement of the transaction also. That means if rupees need to be paid by the customer or security needs to be delivered by the seller, both of this will be ensured by your clearing corporations. And apart from it, we have got brokers, sellers, etc. These are the third or intermediaries. Investment advisors, those who manage your assets as well as the wealth, right? So IFSC, they have been designed as a special international financial jurisdiction by the virtue of Foreign Exchange Management Act. So that is what I am telling you. We are going to see that what are the changes that have been brought in different acts that are made applicable to the IFSC. Like you are saying that there will be no income tax survey and all of that. For banks also there are so many changes that has happened. So if you as a bank you are opening or one of your unit in the IFSC, then you are no longer required to fulfill priority sector lending norms, right? So there are so many changes. We are going to talk about each one of them, but we'll go through it simultaneously, or we'll flow with the flow one by one. We'll not take up a topic just in the middle of any other topic. So I hope you are understanding this. Yes. So IFSCA, I am going to talk about composition. You see, there are representatives of RBI in IFSCA. The IFSCA has been made a regulator for GIFT City, a unified regulator. We are not having different RBI, SEBI or your IRDA, PFRDA separately. No, we have taken representatives from these regulators in IFSCA. We have made a unified regulator so that there is no violation of unity of command, right? There is just one regulator, and that particular regulator is only making the regulations. So this makes the process an easy one. So with this, I would like to wrap up today's session. I hope that this has remained useful for you, fruitful for you, and if it did, then please do not forget to like this video, and we'll be continuing with this, right? So thank you so much for joining in. We'll see you tomorrow.